Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. For this video we'll be going through an unboxing of the real grade Evangelion Unit 3, and this is the Enchanted Shield of Virtue set, and this particular kit was released by Bandai back in 2021 as part of the ongoing rebuild of Evangelion movie line. So this Unit 3 will pretty much be the conclusion of the formal unboxings of the real grade Evangelions. There is at least one P Bandai, I think there's probably two even, of additional Evangelion sets. In the Mark 6 unboxing, I actually did mention that Unit 4 was on its way, so I hope to do that in the near future once it gets here. But yeah, as I said, Unit 3 will pretty much bring an end to the series. Now, I did grab Unit 3 from Hobby Link Japan, so I will have a product link to Unit 3 in the description, as well as a link to the wider range of real grade Ava kits. So here we have the front of the box of the Unit 3 Enchanted Shield of Virtue set. So similar to some additional releases of Unit 0 and Unit 1, this Unit 3 set is going to be, as you see, Unit 3, but will also have an additional shield accessory, which Unit 0 used in the first episode when the angel was attacking. First episode, first movie. So it's actually quite cool that they continued that little additional accessory concept on. So there'll be the shield through Unit 3. If I remember correctly, the Unit 0 extra set had the positron rifle, and the larger Units 1 set had the transport cage, which is pretty cool. So, front of the box of the Unit 3 set. So, a nice prominent shot of the top section of Unit 3, as well as the full body image in the typical real grade format that we're becoming very well adjusted to. In terms of the bottom of the box, so we have the nice little real grade blurb over on the left side, which is pretty much stock standard against all the Ava kit, and really any real grade kit in general. This middle section here is pretty much covering over details of Unit 3. So we have some different action poses of Unit 3, as well as a bit of a breakdown of some of the detailing through its head and some of the articulation throughout its body, arms, and things like that. And in fact, I think this bottom section here is just giving an idea of the detailing and color separation of Unit 3's head. And yeah, we will get some decals, and once again just a bit of a point and blurb about some of the articulation. Over on this side, however, we go into the Enchanted Shield of Virtue, and for this particular image they have brought out a Unit 0, the 00, is it 00 Prime? I'm not too sure. Get very confused when they start adding dashes and primes and things like that. Obviously this is the Unit 0 sans the more typical production rollout. But yes, we do have the shield, which oddly enough shares a lot of colours with Unit 0. But it's very cool that we do get the shield in here as well. So there'll be some nice little gimmicks with that. And here we just have a breakdown of pretty much everything you can build out of this particular kit. Unit 3, shield, and there will be some included decals. Side of the box, pretty much what we usually see on the front. And then the top of the box, a rear shot of Unit 3, another articulated pose of Unit 3. No, actually, it really doesn't look that bad. I still like the color scheme, but I don't know. something about the head. In fact, I feel the colors have changed slightly since the original TV version. I feel the original TV version was more black. This seems to be more of a really dark blue. That's cool. I do like the white and red trimmings. And then we have the little shot of the recreation of Operation Yashima. So Unit 1 with the positron rifle, Unit 0 with the shield, providing cover. And then we just have reference to the two particular real grade kits. So the standard Unit 1 as opposed to the deluxe set, and then the deluxe Unit 0 set, as I said, with the positron cannon. Well, positron cannon / rifle, either. That's pretty much a look of outside of the box. In terms of the inside, should be a whole heap of plastic. So in terms of, what are these things called? Bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 5 there. 6, I'll just move that over there. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bags of runners, and there is the manual today at the bottom. So the shield parts definitely look quite big and quite detailed. My goodness, look at some of the hexagon panels. But yes, I will crack open all these bags and then we can have a better look at all the included items. And with everything now out of the bags. So here we have the front of the manual for AVA Unit 3. Typical front, pretty much just the usual headshot. And then on the back we have all the detailing for the various decals, as well as the Enchanted shield and the pallet rifle and progressive knives. We also have a color guide, which is interesting. So as far as the color guide is concerned, I'm going to assume the primary colors, basically dark blue, a very dark blue, blue hands, there will be dark red on the body, so that's your dark red trim, brown, joints will be black, there will be white on the abdomen, which is pretty much dead center, as well as some of the arms. There will be a bit of beige, that purple, which I tend to call shadow grey, and then there'll be some other additional colors as well. So there you go. As far as the color guide is concerned, Unit 3 is dark blue. Well, at least in rebuild. Standard front intro pages. We do have a good amount of runners to look at. There will be a good amount of X's as well. So there you go. The beginnings of spare Ava parts. In terms of the build, so before we get anywhere, now I just love the little blurb here, and this is partly why I was looking at the color guide. A jet black Ava which was transferred from Nerve's North American branch. So consistency on AVA Unit 3's color is all over the shop. So I mean, this is why I think it's black and not dark blue, but take it whatever way you will, really. Yeah, there's a nice bit of English to read through there as well. So if you ever get this kit, I do recommend reading through some of that. Anyway, in terms of the build, the torso, well, body should be pretty much the same as every other Ava kit, bar Mark 6, which I think was an odd exception. Going through the header build, the legs, which definitely shouldn't be changing much between Avas. Standard little image about the umbilical cable, entry plug, and the pallet rifle, progressive knives, and I feel like this is supposed to be an extra item, but I really can't tell. Unfortunately, it's in Japanese, but it almost looks like the eyes have some type of protective covering of some sort. Who knows? Maybe Unit 3 likes to wear its own version of sunglasses. Anyway, that was that. Continuing through the build of the legs. Before we hit the arms, arms will be pretty much stock standard as well. And then a nice little detail about the Enchanted Shield of Virtue. Still going through the arms, shoulders, putting those together. There will be some articulation in the head, which is cool. And in fact, they are called the Evangelion Optical System Protective Cover. So yes, Unit 3 can basically wear glasses. How cool is that? Weapons, that should be pretty much the same as what we've seen in previous Avas, with the exception of Unit 2, but then Unit 2 had extra weapons. Standard articulation, posability, umbilical cable. Going through the shield build, doesn't look like it'll be too complicated. I think the main thing is just that you're working with larger pieces, and some of these larger pieces do have details which may get completely covered up, both a good and a bad thing. And then you will get some posing instructions and some additional manipulators for Unit 0, and the shield will have a bit of a base stand attachment. And then there's also the micro shield, which I think is pretty much the shield that was all that was left after several hits from the Angel's main weapon. So that was the manual for Unit 3 and the shield. In terms of the included decals, pretty stock standard. I don't think there's too much to mention that hasn't been said in previous videos. Now, as for the runners, I will see if I can try and go through them really quickly because a lot of them are rinse and repeat. I think the runners of real interest will be the ones related to the shield, and the 2 runners that are actually related to Unit 3, which, now that I've done Mark 6, that was the level of variation I was expecting. 2, maybe 3 runners, but Mark 6 was considerably different than what I was expecting. Anyway, runners. A runner, dark blue / black, have it whatever you will. It's probably going to look like black on the camera. So A was pretty normal. B1 is also going to be pretty much standard as well. Once again, that's in that dark blue / black. Universal C runner of all the joints, that's still in its usual colorings as well. D runner, still standard, still black, nothing to really write home about. The E runner, I think in this case, is going to be dark blue, given it is parts of the arms, so it should be exterior colors. Otherwise, we have seen the E runner before, nothing new. We've seen the F runner before, but this will be in a dark red to coincide with Unit 3. G1 in white, nothing really new here. We also have a G2, nothing new either, that'll be back in that dark blue. We have H1 and H2. H1, that's stock standard, this will be in your violet / shadow grey. H2 will be in beige, but we've seen these both just in different colours through different Ava kits. H1 and H2, sorry, I1 and I2, I1 in brown, I2 in red. Seen these before, nothing too new there. We have the J runner, which we have seen before, so the plug is still white. The colors for the pallet rifle are still that camo green and black. And the hands in this instance will be blue. Otherwise, Universal J Runner. Universal K Runner, pretty much for every single Ava that has a umbilical cable, sans Mark 6. That's in its usual silver. Usual L Runner in translucent red, pretty much stock standard. We have the N Runner, which pretty much also another stock standard runner. So majority of that is in black, and we do have some parts in that dark red. We have a O Runner, which is also something that's pretty much universal. Green, which is pretty standard. These will be in dark red, which I think have been white and different other colors on previous Avas, and the rest will be the dark blue. And then lastly we have an R2 runner, which I do recall we have seen a few times in the past. This will be in shadow grey / violet. So those were pretty much the, I dare say, universal runners of all the Avas that exist throughout the line. We have an AE1 runner, which I believe is just the additional hands for Unit 0 in terms of holding the Enchanted shield. So that's cool that we actually do get some additional manipulators for that. That's in grey to align to Unit 0's colouring. We also have an AH runner. Now this I believe is specific to Unit 3. It is a multicolour runner, so we have white, the dark blue, the dark red, and the black. I can already tell this section alone here, the middle bit, is pretty much the head components of Unit 3. And I also suspect some of these will be also for the head. Interesting that we have some bits of arms and I guess bits of body, so it'll be interesting to see how they come through. But yes, an AH runner, which is very specific to this kit and not to the rest. Now, the other items that are specific to this kit and not the others. So we have XH1, so that's the first runner of the shield. There's also an XH2. So this H1 runner is in a, let's say, golden yellow, pretty stock standard colouring. Some very large pieces, but we do have some extra detailing, which I suspect will be the knuckles for the Unit 0 hands and things like that. So that's very cool. So that's the front, that's the back. A little bit of detailing on the inside, but it isn't too bad. So that's H1. As I mentioned, there was also an H2, which is in that dark grey black. That's pretty much your, I dare say, the base stand for the shield. So that was XH1 and 2. We have XI1 and XI2. So XI1 is in all white, I2 is a all red runner. Doesn't look like... Well, there you go. So we're probably on the same mold. I1, most of these are all shield components, so I don't really think I need to say too much about that. Not too bad on the detailing, so that's the one side, that's the back side. So that's that I1, and the I2 just has some red components. To wrap up the shield, we also have XJ1 and XJ2. Once again, they're probably from the exact same mold, just with different injections. So J1 will be in grey, and J2 I feel is in some type of green. In fact, these X2 ones, I believe, if they come into focus, I believe those are the protective eye covers for Unit 3. Kind of cool. So those are those. So that's actually not part of the shield, it's part of Unit 3. J1 is definitely part of the shield. Definitely some nice detailing in there, to the point that is super detailed, and if the instructions were any indication, a lot of that is going to get covered up. That is very unfortunate, but I guess we'll see. We'll adapt as we put the kit together. So that was that, and lastly, because should have actually been with the rest of the stuff, the PVC wire for the umbilical cable, which is pretty much standard for every single Ava bar Mark 6. So that brings us to an end of the unboxing of the Ava Unit 3 Enchanted Shield of Virtue set. It has gone a little bit longer than I was hoping for, but I guess one was a bigger box and two, there was a bit more content in there to go through. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this was picked up from HobbyLink Japan, so there will be the product link in the description for this and the rest of the real grade Ava line. Thank you very much for watching this unboxing video. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account, link below. Stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in a future video. See ya.